Okay, it's time for a little updated view of the Free Garden project. The wild bergamot, lemon balm, and the other herbs that I've stuck to the side of the path are doing great. They really don't care about the, the lack of care that they're getting or the poor soil. Now, way off in the back, I've got Jerusalem artichokes starting to come up, and they're super hardy, so they don't need any care. It's kind of hard to tell what I have in here because it's all mixed in together with a bunch of weeds, but there's some gojis, some dewberries, some pokeweed coming up. That's some kind of mallow, but I forget what I put there. Canna lilies, some of the clover I've thrown down, the red clover, and my elderberries are real happy. Over here, the kids' garden is doing great. They've already been pulling radishes out of there. A few weeds, but we kind of eat them now, don't we? Here is the this goji berry that I've really been kind of pampering this year, and it's super happy. I'm hoping that it's going to give us a lot of berries. We've already passed it, but my figs are coming back over there. Look at that milk thistle. If you can, it's kind of hard to see through here, but it's a real happy thing. It's a real happy place, the Free Garden, very happy place. Now I've added in some more official paths with the wood chips and whatnot. I've thrown some more red clover seeds, the last that I had down in there, because I had a little space. And these are my oats. Aren't they growing? The answer is yes. Yes, they are. These are my gooseberries, and this one has always been happy in this spot. You can see how big it's growing, and it's made berries the last maybe 2 years, I guess. But my other gooseberries never have really made berries. They haven't been happy where they are, so I transplanted them over here. This if you can tell, this horseshoe-shaped mound area is where I raked up some fallen wood, and I partially burned it and then buried it, and that was a few years ago. And so there's a lot of nutrients down there. But I've transplanted them over there, and then all of the transplants have started making berries, so I'm very excited about that. And of course I'm clearing up this whole area to turn it all into gardens. There's the Jerusalem artichokes, if you can tell, underneath everything. Let me skip past you, Mr. Gooseberry. Try not to poke me, sir, or ma'am. Here's a little beauty berry that has come up volunteered, and I love it. And this sort of dirty garden right here by some old black visqueen is actually doing really well. This garden makes huge radishes. Huge radishes! They were planted later than all the others, and they are just ridiculously big, all underneath the shade of a pecan tree. See, look over there where I've been clearing up. Yeah, we're gonna go over there. My compost area, or my brush area, is getting really full, so later I'll do a tour of my food forest and show you what I'm doing with brush, so don't worry about it getting overfilled, because I have plans for that. My clovers are really developing. I don't know how much I'm going to weed. As a sort of a weedy, foragey guy, I don't usually weed things a lot, but I want this to be more like a normal person garden. So I may come through and weed out things that may be necessary. The Nanking cherries are making little fruits. Let me see if I can get that in focus. See right there, those little green things. They're not true cherries, but they're pretty tart. They're nice. I really want to propagate a whole bunch of these. Once they get established, they're pretty hardy, and yeah, it's a good tasting fruit. I guess it depends on which one you get. Oh, my first garden area I put in, it's just doing great. There's flax coming up. There's the radishes, the lettuce, carrots. Over here, my raised beds, I'm so happy with how these turned out. Now remember, these were originally going to be top bar beehives, but the bees didn't work out. So I reinforced them to make them a little stronger because they're kind of old. And I've planted some cabbage and broccoli, Brussels sprouts. Honestly, a bit too thickly, as you can tell, but I've transplanted out a bunch of them already. We'll just see how that goes. I know it won't do as good if I don't thin them. This, which was a mud pit, is now somewhat less of a mud pit. There are a bunch of little things transplanted into this. Actually, a lot of these are transplants from the raised beds. Now you can tell that the plants in the raised beds are much happier They're the ones that get transplanted out, but they're still making it. And I'm filling this area in as I bring in new transplants, or as I start some seeds every week of my cool weather stuff. Although I won't be able to do that very much longer. And I'll fill this area in. Oh, and that path back there is done. And hey, this thing used to be, I think, a pallet. And it's been sitting in the chicken coop for a long time because I thought the chickens would enjoy jumping on it and, you know, roosting on it. And they never really gave it any attention. So I moved it over here. I had to put some T-posts down to hold it in because we had a big storm with hail, and it damaged some of the fruit and the leaves, and it knocked this over. So it needed a little more oomph to hold it in. And then I've got a couple of gardens over here. Now I know this is still under the pecan tree, so it's not ideal. I get that, but I'm working with what I have, right? I still had a few of these paver stones that I'm using to make a sort of a makeshift path through the middle of the garden. Or really, see, it would be a tiny little rectangle over here and then a tiny rectangle over there with a path in the middle, and this, at least theoretically, lets me grow things in between the steps where there would be a path. Well, it's an experiment. We'll see if it helps me out or not. It also helps to distribute my weight a little bit. And there's a garbage truck going by, so that's loud. There's some leftover cattle panels we're using for peas, and I've been cleaning up the fence row to grow peas up that. And this is going to be an herb garden of sorts. I've got some calendula, some Roman chamomile, different things here and there. And I see that garbage truck is just going to kind of hang out. We don't even have a garbage can there. Cool, that's cool. Okay, well, I think that's where we are for now. There's still, room for development, room for improvement. I'm really happy with how it's coming along. And with the exception of the cost of the seeds and some weed fabric that I bought before I decided to make it a free garden. So with those exceptions, it's a free garden. I'm not paying for anything. I'm just using things. I'm recycling or repurposing, or just, finding things and making them work. See you next time.